Are we on? Well, it says in today's paper, Trump's credibility gap biggest since Nixon may endanger important dealings with the public, Congress, foreign leaders. Of course, for full disclosure, this is the Press Journal, which of course is owned by USA Today, and USA Today is extremely slanted to the left. So it seems like everybody can't leave this president alone. They just want to constantly go after him. President Donald Trump, it says, drew the biggest inaugural crowd in history, except he didn't. That's what they say. President Barack Obama wiretapped Trump Tower during the campaign, except there's no evidence he did. Trump fired FBI Director James Comey because the Deputy Attorney General concluded he had mishandled the Hillary Clinton email investigation, except now the president says it was his decision alone and cites the Russian investigation as the reason. On issues big and small, substantive and cosmetic, the Trump White House has failed to give accurate accounts of what happened until photographs, records, reporting, and in some cases the president's own words provide a new version of the facts. Well, frankly, there's a lot of falsehoods in the press these days. As I said, when Romney was running, and I got to interview Mr. Romney, I got to interview Mrs. Romney, and I was really taken aback when one night on TV he said, I'm not concerned with the poor because they have a safety net. If they don't, I'll make sure they do, but I am concerned with blah, 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 blah. And the next 3 nights, Brian, whatever his name is there, who's been ousted from the evening news because of his lies and exaggerations, they edited it, and all they did was play the part where he says, I'm not concerned with the poor. And then they cut it. I mean, so the falsehoods in the news, and it's too bad because I don't know how the press will kick back, and exactly how this all will work, because there's got to be some sort of a new delineation, or maybe somebody will be, I don't know, some kind of a commitment or a degree, or I don't know what's going to happen. But tell you what, it's become a mishmash. Well, anyway. In the studio today, of course, I have Paul Sexton. Paul Sexton is the CEO, president. Is that your official title over there at Hibiscus?
That's right.
Now, surprisingly, I've had other people who've been involved with Hibiscus over the years. I remember when they first started coming on the show, and I was like, it was presumed. You got to watch out for this. Presuming that people. I remember the fellow who did. Remember Ring Around the Collar?
That's right.
Ring around the collar, ring around. So the wife, after a few years, says, hey, pull that off the TV. It's been on too much. And he said, no. As the CEO of the company, he said, no. He said, the people are just getting used to it. And he was right. Mm-hmm. Just when you think you've overdone it, people are beginning to hear about you.
Right.
Okay. So I'm on an elevator in New York City. You and I bump into each other for the first time. The elevator version of what is Hibiscus in Vero Beach, Florida.
Hibiscus is a residential treatment facility for teenagers who are abused, abandoned, or neglected. And we do more than just become mom and dad to them. We are in the business of restoring hope for kids who've lost hope and have lost their path.
You know what would be really cool? I wish I had the time to do all these ideas I come up with, because maybe it'd be a good book for me to go and interview people. Go back in time and find out how many people were illegitimate, they were troublemakers, or they were in trouble, or they didn't have parents that loved them, or whatever, that turned out to be great later on in life. You know the story of Edison, right? Edison was in school. Mm-hmm. He comes home with a note.
Yep.
And he says, Mom, what does it say? What does it say? Mom, what does it say? And she says, oh, it says that, you're just too brilliant and too bright to be in their school, so I'm going to have to homeschool you. So years later, of course, he became the Thomas Edison we all know about. The incandescent light bulb, etc., and the phonograph. I mean, the guy was just genius. Anyway, so later on in life, his mother had died, and he's going through his mother's stuff. He found the letter, and the letter actually said, "We're sorry, your son is, inept and not smart enough to really stay in school. You'll have to train him yourself."
Right.
And he said, he marveled at this. He said, "Wow, my mother took an idiot and turned him into a genius, just by belief."
Wow.
Having some voice somewhere, someone. Was it you that said they're just an adult away?
That's right.
What's that saying you have?
Every child is one adult away from being a success.
And they tend to live up to their expectations.
That's right. Well, when you contrast the story you just told about Edison, imagine a teenager that you run into 13, 15, 16 years old, and they've been told exactly the opposite. you're never going to amount to anything.
Yeah.
Your life has no value. You're never going to go anywhere. I don't know why you're even here. And so they start to believe that rhetoric. And so based on that, a lot of negative behaviors, quiet or loud, show up. And so our job is to restore hope and restore believability in that child's life.
Yeah, you have to be careful, because if you tell somebody that they have a certain personality trait, good or bad, they're going to, most of the time, they're going to embrace it and go, oh, that's who I am. That defines them.
That's right.
As I said, I used to pick up this lady on Tuesdays to go to this little Bible study in upstate New York years and years ago, 30 years ago. Amelia Miller, a tall, elegant Italian lady. She met an American soldier in Italy, World War II. They'd gotten married, and then he was subjected to asbestos and died young, but she was a very wonderful lady, a woman of great faith. Well, one time she said, oh, Rhett, I love it the way when you pick me up, you have a nice a navy blue blazer and a beautiful crisp white shirt and that tie every time, and you look so handsome or whatever. So what do you think I did? On Tuesday nights now, I'm at home changing my tie 3 times, trying to live up. Oh, how you think she'll like this? You don't tell people that.
Sure.
But maybe you won't even own up to it yourself.
That's right.
But you're going like you're trying to live up to their expectations. Oh, I had a girl in my life years ago, and she celebrated my goofiness. And she taught me to like me. So why do I think about her from time to time even now? Because she gave me a great gift. She gave a gift of me liking me and celebrating me. So then you act goofy, and then some people don't like that.
That's right.
So not everybody's going to like it. But at least, people want to watch. So if you tell a kid, you're good at this, you're bad at this. What do we like to do? Do you play golf?
I do.
Okay, see, I don't. Now, I had an affluent childhood.
Right.
Things changed a little bit later on, struggling artist in life. And I have every opportunity now. I haven't played golf in 8 years.
Right.
I'm not good at it. You're probably good at it. If you were terrible at it, you probably wouldn't want to do it.
That's right. That's right.
So people tend to like that, identify with that which they're good and like it more. And so, words are very powerful with children.
Yeah, they are. Rhett, I remember meeting a young lady at the village. She was probably 16 or 17 years of age, and I was new in the organization at the time. And she heard the new guy, the new CEO, was visiting the village, and so she was determined to say something to me. She had something on her mind. She was frustrated. She was agitated, and staff were trying to prevent her from meeting with me.
How terrible!
Well, they were trying to protect my first impression of the kids.
Oh,
they were trying to
yes.
protect her from embarrassing herself, and so she got through to me. And so she was polite enough, but very opinionated in her belief about things that were going on.
Yeah.
To I think her surprise, and certainly staff surprise, I didn't push back and say, you really need to take your argument to somebody else. What I did was to say, you're very articulate. You really know how to communicate a point. And one day, you have all the skills to be a CEO. And so she is still at the village today. And every time I see her, she's a very different person. Just because we were able to take that negative energy, she was just trying to communicate some frustration. And instead of scolding her and saying, you're doing that wrong, why not capitalize on the positive parts of what she was trying to convey? And now we have a success in her life.
Yeah, I can remember when I was younger, I did some little doodlings or something, and a teacher pulled me aside. And to this day, maybe I was in 4th grade, it might have been 5th, but at the most. But she took me aside, Mrs. Sweeney, so I remember her name.
Right.
And she said, you could really make a career of this with effort. So
Right.
I'm trying to get that little dig in there. Another effort. You need a little more effort, right?
Yeah.
And because it's typical of boys. I never did this with you. I used to do this on the radio all the time. Haven't done it in a long time. If I run into a teacher now, I'll do it. So I'm going to do a little test with you. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So this will be you don't get it, and this will be you do get it.
All
okay.
right.
So Paul Sexton, CEO of Hibiscus Children's Center here. Let's see. Who won the Heisman Trophy last year?
I have no idea.
That's good. Most people don't. Okay, so who was the number one NBA star last year in basketball?
I do not know.
Who won the Pulitzer Prize for literature last year?
I have no idea.
Okay, how about the Nobel Prize for, let's see, I don't know, something like literature, I guess.
You could have picked any category. I don't know.
Okay. Now, you've gotten all those wrong, as you're supposed to get them wrong. That's good.
Sure.
Because most people, okay. Now I will ask you, now we have not rehearsed this, ladies and gentlemen. Have I brought this up to you before? Okay.
First time I'm hearing
So
it.
now I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and you'll probably be able to answer them within 10 seconds, and you'll get them all right.
Okay.
Okay. Name to me right now, Paul Sexton, 3 teachers that influenced your life in a positive way.
My English teacher, my math teacher, and my communications teacher in
And
college.
do you remember their names?
I'm not good with your name.
Okay.
I just know that those
But
people.
you do. Those people
Oh,
have
yeah.
profound influence. Okay. Here's the point of this whole thing, and I pull this on teachers all the time because I want them to feel great about what they do. You see, our heroes are not the people. I forgot to ask you who was the number one Hollywood actor or actress last year. You don't know those
Yeah, I
either,
don't
right?
know
Okay.
that.
Okay. So the point is that our heroes are not the people in Hollywood. They're not the NBA stars. They're not the people who win the Pulitzer Prizes. Our heroes are our teachers.
Right. They're the people who show up in your life.
Yeah. So, as I've said before, I was at Marist College. I don't think it was Mr. O'Reilly, though he attended there. But I remember I was going through some challenges. I will use the word, and that's the word this one brother up there took me out. We sat on a park bench, and I was going through some tribulations, and he said, well, flip it around. Let's take this as a challenge. And he flipped it around, and instead of being a negative, it was like, yeah, it's a challenge to go forward. And here I am, 50 years later, quoting that brother who
Right.
made an investment of a few words into my life.
Right.
Did it cost him anything? No. And will it cost you, ladies and gentlemen, to invest? Now, another thing is if you can't spend time volunteering at Hibiscus, people can write a check.
They can.
And you get a lot of prosperous people who help the downtrodden.
We do. We have a very, very generous community who have taken upon themselves to make Hibiscus one of their major charities that they support. And we're extremely thankful to that community.
Do you know Dr. Massey?
Oh, yes.
Okay. So Dr. Massey came on my show, and he probably remembers, but I've had a hard time in the past because of things I went through as a kid. Where there was a time where I would have been taken, you're a CEO, and you're a dot the I, cross the T's kind of guy. I'm an autiste, the feel. So when Dr. Massey came on my show years ago, I couldn't. There was a wall there, and later on in life, you realized it wasn't Dr. Massey's problem.
Right.
It was my problem.
Right.
And we met recently, and I said, I want to apologize. I didn't have the warmest attitude towards you. And boy, it's great to apologize to people.
Yeah.
It just sets you free.
Right.
And I said, Dr. Massey, I said, I've heard through the grapevine that, I forget who it was. It was some black kid. His family took in and helped and encouraged. And I said, so I thought maybe he didn't have a heart when I was younger. And then I find out, hey, Rhett, he has a great big heart, maybe
Right.
bigger than mine,
Right.
And so I admired him, and he said, let's get together and have lunch. So we're going to have lunch soon.
Yeah.
But here's a guy, who, I forget the point. Why would I tell you that story? I forget why. There was somebody that was trying to make some sort of a point here. But, that people, get out there and invest in these kids. What
Right.
can people do?
Well, there are a number of things that they can do. If I think about Dr. Massey, he's got thousands of kids coming through the university or
My
the college.
word.
And so we have hundreds of kids every single year coming through our facility. So we need mentors. We need people that can help teach a kid math skills that maybe he's struggling in skills or in school or maybe some English work. Sometimes we just need to help with homework or take a kid fishing. Some simple things. Just come and visit. These are kids who have lost faith in adults. And so sometimes they just need a real adult to show up that has something positive to say in their life so they can help turn the negative tide that's been building up in their life.
Yeah. a little word can change everything, huh?
Absolutely.
So now you're not the newcomer at Hibiscus. You are to me because
Right.
I've only just met you in the past 6 months,
Right.
and you've been here a few years already.
It's been a year and a half,
Year and a half.
so it's fairly new still.
Yeah, but you seem very optimistic about turning these lives around of the children there.
Well, I'm excited about being at Hibiscus Children's Center. If you think about what we do for a living, there are a lot of agencies throughout the country that do what we do. We provide residential care for children who are abused, abandoned, and neglected. But I just think you could do so much more. And so one of the things you and I have talked about, and you've helped me get the word out, is thinking of new ways to provide opportunities for kids. And so one is our partnership with Impact 100. Winning that $100,000 grant to start a new business line in graphic design.
Yeah.
And so, why would we do that? I mean, because we already have houses, the kids already have a safe place to live. We're getting them back in school. We're trying to restore their faith in humanity and the belief that they can succeed in life. But the graphic design puts reality to that rhetoric. So instead of me saying you can be successful, go out and launch a career someday, why not give them the actual career that they can start while they're living?
I think it's a fabulous idea. So now you changed a life. I mean, so what's the percentage out of the kids that maybe start in a class like that will actually end up choosing that as a career?
Well, we think for our goal for the start of the program is to have about 80 kids go through the program. Because we don't have kids there forever, our average length of stay is about 6 months, and this program is a 6-month program.
Oh.
There's 5 modules, 1 month each for each module as we train the kids in graphic design. Some kids stay 3 or 4 years, so there will be that group of kids that will have greater exposure to this. But we're hoping that we have about a 20 to 30% graduation rate out of this program.
I think it's great. What is the website?
Go to hibiscuschildrencenter.org. That's hibiscuschildrencenter.org.
All right. Thank you for coming in today, Paul.
Thank you, Rhett.
All right. Mercedes-Benz of Fort Pierce, by the way, sponsoring our show today. You can call them at 466-7000. Mark Humphrey, he's a pleasant, informative salesperson that we've dealt with down there. The new E-Class, it's elegant, latest technical innovations, panoramic screen for GPS and entertainment choices. The control center is phenomenal. They will exceed your expectations. Test drive a new or used Mercedes-Benz at Mercedes-Benz of Fort Pierce today.
Today's broadcast is sponsored
And we're done. Okay, so then that's what we'll do. So you're going to talk to that group about that, and I will see you
free pickup.
next
Soon.
week.
Soon.
Yeah.
So I'm in with these folks for like 2 hours today.
Good.
So
Let's plan on getting together next Monday.
let's definitely do it. Keep us in your prayers with these 2 kids today.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, those 2 kids may end up being the best kids.
You know, I'm one of the things I want to keep in your thought process is I've got 5 kids who've graduated from our program, so they're 18 and older, and I'm interviewing with them this week just because I'm trying to get a story told about, in the eyes of someone who's lived at Hibiscus and those kind of things. That might be an opportunity to get 2 or 3 of those kids
No,
in
we
here.
can interview them.
Yeah.
So let's do this. We'll bring up to the board today. What we can do is not only can I interview them for the radio show, then I can take those.
Turn off Facebook.
Oh, we're doing business.